comprehensive Masonic platform that promotes worldwide exchange among its members. For the first time, the World Conference of Regular Masonic Grand Lodges was held in Mexico City in 1995. Since then, the worldwide meeting has taken place every 18 months. Berlin will be to the 17th Worldwide Conference in 2021. Other venues in the past have included Lisbon, New York, Sao Paulo, Madrid, Paris, New Delhi, Santiago de Chile, Washington DC, Libreville, Cartagena, Chennai, Bucharest, San Francisco, Antananarivo, and most recently, Panama City. The conference planned for Jerusalem in 2020 had to be cancelled due to COVID pandemic reasons. And now we're here. So again, welcome to Berlin in 2021. From Wednesday, November 17 to Sunday, November 21st, an extensive agenda consisting of lectures, meetings, discussions, workshops is planned in the Berlin Grand Lodge buildings, hotel conference areas, and even here in this old cinema audience hall. In addition, getting to know each other and exchanging ideas with international brethren is the focus of this multi-day event. This all has been organized on a stony way. The Hotel Ellington has been sold to an investor group and closed. All reservations have been cancelled, and we had to get moved to Hotel Berlin. This was causing some nervous hours. We wanted to organize an airport shuttle service for everybody, but we had arrivals from Monday during the night to Tuesday and mainly on Wednesday until 11 p.m. There were buses scheduled on nearly every full hour, but if there are brethren who have booked different hotels by themselves, how should we know where to go and from where to go there? The past few months of the pandemic have shown all of humanity the limits of freedom and its options. I do not want to talk about the many faiths and medical problems, the political influences, as well as the necessary restrictions of our usual life. Others in many places have already done so in sufficient way. But also the organization of this event had to suffer badly from the uncertain course of the pandemic. 3 options to participate: vaccinated, recovered, just tested, or just 2 options: vaccinated and recovered, test stations in front of all locations, masks or no masks, distances or no distances, and so on and so on and so on. I had a fantastic team for the organization, and I thank them all very much. It all looked perfect in summer. We were totally convinced to be able to organize a perfect conference. Then the numbers began to increase, and this went on and on. Some days ago, we had to declare the whole event an event only for vaccinated and recovered people. But we did it, and now we're here. We did send these informations to all registered guests, and 90% accepted it. Finally, we have only about 10% cancellations. In addition to the established new rules, we have organized options for everybody to get tested on top. Again, it is on your wish. In every location you can be tested on top, if one wants to be maximum safe. And the last thing is, but we have the intention to check what we'll be able to refund for those who have cancelled hotel accommodations. We're not to get refunded in general. It was too short before the event. Now you all should have got cards and colored lanyards. So just a short sentence to what the lanyards means. The green lanyards is for the delegation. It gives you entry in every event. The yellow is for guest registrations. The red is for the organization team, and there are blue and white ones for German brethren who visit us. And last but not least, I'm sure there will be little mistakes in the procedure and in the execution of the conference, as we've just seen that on your printed schedule, Saturday and Sunday have the same dates. So, but please take it with a chuckle. But finally, we are all here to exchange ideas and to talk about options to make Freemasonry more relevant in times of worldwide social upheaval. We're here to work in the interest of our brethren. So modern Freemasonry sees itself as a beacon and possible anchor point in a pluralistic society and defines itself in an ethical association of life. Freemasonry expresses a global offer for the future for society as a whole and offers landmarks within an increasingly global and networked world. Our goal as the oldest non-governmental organization in the world is to establish and promote more justice and more togetherness in the world. In this sense, Freemasonry makes an offer to the individual member, as well as to society in general. That is second to none. The World Conference of Regular Masonic Grand Lodges will be a very special one this year. After 18 months in which our world has had, as we have edged, it has fallen out of the social and economic fabric, and old standards have become obsolete. It is time to address society's most pressing issues. It's time for a new departure. And it's time for a new courage and new ideas on which our future can be built. That is why I'm pleased to welcome Freemasons from all over the world to Berlin for the first time for this World Conference. So, third time, brethren, welcome to Berlin. We have Grand Lodges here, delegations from Grand Lodges here from Albania, Andorra, Austria, Azerbaijan, Bahia, from Baja California, Belgium, Benin, Bolivia, Brazil, Bulgaria, Burkina Faso, California, from Connecticut, from Colombia, from the Congo, from the Ivory Coast, Cyprus, from Distrito Federal, Dominican Republic, Espírito Santo, Ecuador, España, Estonia, Finland, from France, Gabon, of course from Germany, from the Estado de Goiás, from Guinea, Hungary, Ireland, from the State of Israel, from Italia, from Kansas, from Latvia, from Lebanon, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Madagascar, from Mali, Mato Grosso, Mexico, Minas Gerais, North Carolina, Moldova, Monaco, Netherlands, New York, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Panama, Paraguay, Paraná, Paulista, Peru, Poland, Portugal, Rio Grande do Sul, Estado de Rondônia, Romania, Russia, Santa Catarina, Serbia, Slovenia, Senegal, South Africa, Sweden, Switzerland, Tahiti, Togo, Turkey, Ukraine, Uruguay, Utah, and Mexico. And then we have guests here as observers, or they are just only registered as guests. This is, for the first time, the United Grand Lodge of England. This is the Prince Hall Grand Lodge of California, the Estado de Nuevo León, Simbólica de la Confederação de Maçonaria Simbólica do Brasil, and the Grand Lodge of Estado do Tocantins, and the United Grand Lodge of Georgia. We will give our very best to make this conference a great event and a success. And for me, I just said it before, I was asked what should happen that you define this as a success. For me, the conference is a success when you all go home and you have taken something from this conference and you bring it to your brethren and you define it for yourself as valuable enough to change things or discuss things in your Grand Lodges of home. So thank you very much for your patience for this introduction. In addition, please allow me another 3 to 4 minutes for some ideas that I would spread from my person to you. These are my ideas, and it's up to you if you accept them or not. The future needs Freemasonry, an approach to a global ethics. An attempt to interpret our collective future, especially in front of this complex background in increasing globalization and digitalization, is comparable with looking into a crystal ball. It seems, however, increasingly likely that young people are facing new and more grave insecurities in terms of the development of character, value systems, and moral standards. Developing and strengthening one's own personality, this is impacted by a flood of media influences whose framing and assessment seems increasingly complex. Upon a quick glance, pluralistic societies and cultures that are embedded in a so-called omni-channel media culture do not anymore seem to have an unified, universally valid systems and values and morals. Or to be more precise, this seems to be more difficult to identify, to adapt to one's own self and to create social consent around. If and to what extent the need to find a solution to this question is even sufficiently prominent is additionally important to examine. The increase in fast paces and short terms and the true meanings of the words in all facets of daily life, not least because of the fast evolution and reinvention of digital and social media, seems to weaken, or at least not to support the foundations of existing value systems and philosophical guardrails. The central ethical and moral question of the future will be, is man allowed to do all that he can do? This question we will have to answer for ourselves as individuals as well as societies in general. This is a basic consideration that played a significantly less important role 100 years ago, or whose sense was not entirely clear back then. But after the exponential development in all realms of life, the question has become deeply profound and must be center of education, law, legislation, politics, and research. Some examples of this are bioethics, responsibility in the handling of big data, and personal data, or exponential increasing and potentially manipulative capabilities via digitalization. These new capabilities shine a different and sometimes dramatic light on issues such as a social consciousness, global ecology, climate and nature preservation, and new dimensions of responsibility in dealing with them. Are we personally and as a society allowed to really do anything that we are theoretically capable of doing according to the state of research, technology and digitalization? And if there have to be moral guardrails of theoretically possible, what are the appropriate standards to define them? More precisely, which guardrails are good and right? Reality seems to be diametrical and in opposition to these increasingly relevant questions, whose answering requires a spiritual positioning. Classic value systems and philosophical modes of thinking, broadly speaking, are moving to the margins of consideration of many people. Modern Freemasonry understands itself as a lighthouse and potential point of anchoring in this situation. It defines itself as an ethical, lifelong union. It has posed this demand on the world of thought and the lived practice since inception last 300 years. The beginnings of Freemasonry can even be traced back to a few hundred years earlier, and even though age is not a proof of quality, it does seem appropriate to examine this unchangeable and old demand that Freemasonry has made from all its members and their actions in the world. Freemasonry provides a collective global offer for the future and presents landmarks in a world that is growing more global and interconnected in its acting and thinking. Freemasonry is a child of enlightenment. Its universal notions of man himself and his relationship with his environment live on unchanged for hundreds of years. Especially now, they offer hints as to how a society of the future can agree on a unified and good life. To be precise, Freemasonry places its value system above the thoughts of time, in German we say Zeitgeist, and above variable notions of, for example, its dignity or its value. It excludes such opinions that were forged by ideologies and regimes, and examines the world on the human purely in terms of enlightenment. Freemasonry therefore defines humans as inhabitants of the world that makes no differentiation in its tolerance, respect and mutual regard for one another. As lifelong band of Brothers, Freemasonry aims to inform, shape the character of its members by withdrawal into rituals. Freemasons are supposed to contribute to a just and respectful society. They shall participate in social processes with respect for humans, animals, and nature, and therefore ultimately make the world a bit better. Undeniable and honorable goal, and in the long term, Freemasonry aims to, as if we will, the oldest non-governmental organization in the world, establish and foster more social equity and more unity in this world. Not more and not less should be accomplished and exemplified through a lifetime and discourse about philosophical issues. Lifelong friendly brotherly relationships and numerous philanthropic initiatives. In light of these universal and therefore time-transcending demands and this self-understanding, Freemasonry makes an offer to its individual members and to society that is unrewarded. It is exclusively concerned with the positive development of individual personality and thereby inadvertently fosters a beneficial influence on one's own environment and society. So these are my thoughts, and thank you for your patience. So, to follow up, I would love to ask our guest, Karl-Heinz Land, to come up here.